It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Anika Apple, who's in the building. What's up, Anika? How are you?
Hello, Shay. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, thanks for being here. It's an honor and a privilege. I can't wait. Now, I know folks are looking at the topic, and if you don't, she's going to be talking about creating a remarkable life. And I know y'all know already what Shay's going to say. What in the LL Cool J is a remarkable life? So, in all seriousness, for folks that are watching, so we can all be on the same page, can you give us your definition? What is a remarkable life so we all know what we're trying to create?
Yeah, absolutely, Shay. And it's great that, you frame it that way because part of what makes it remarkable is that it's meaningful for the person that's living it, right? But creating a remarkable life is about creating a life that is less ordinary, something that is worthy of note. That's what the word remarkable means. So, this is about you crafting the life you desire to live, to create the set of experiences, the kind of legacy, and the day to day being in the present moment that is aligned with who you were called to be. A lot of our lives, we can kind of operate outside of living in the truth of our purpose. It's like we kind of dance around the thing that we were really purposed to do. And part of my work is helping people get to the place where they center that, they center themselves. And then what they build is something that they look back at end of life and they're like, my God, I am so grateful I got to live this life.
Now, as you were saying that, I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but I'm curious. Why are folks struggling these days? Sounds like they want to have a remarkable life. So I guess here's the question. What are some things that hold people back today from your view from just having a remarkable life? I mean, why are they struggling? It seems like it should be easy peasy, and my life ain't remarkable. So I'm all into this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm leaning in too, by the way. So here's the question. What holds people back today from having a remarkable life?
Yeah, so Shay, there's a couple of different things that hold people back from having a remarkable life. At the core of it is that we have not taken the time to really define what it is that we want and to believe that it is possible. So a lot of times we are so caught up in these pieces of like, I do this thing really well. And because I do it well, that's what I should be doing. But we don't pause to say, but is this truly at the core of my being? Like, when I do this activity, this part of work, when I'm focused on this thing I'm doing in my business, is it really setting my soul on fire? Am I aligned with the best of what I have to offer? And it's scary for people to think about whether or not they are really living into their purpose, because I think all of us know, okay, we were born with purpose. There's something we're supposed to do, and there's this overt feeling of failure if we're not where we think we're supposed to be. And so part of that challenge is exists in our minds in getting out of the way that we have been conditioned and socialized to experience what success looks like, what failure, feels like, or how we even define it. And we can get caught up in those things so much so that we don't take the time to really pause and say, where am I in relation to what I want this life and this legacy that I'm creating to look like? And when we do that, when we give ourselves the space to really be clear about what it is that we desire to create, it starts to evolve. Our life starts to evolve in that way. But so many people operate from a place of fear of not being enough, that they've not gotten to a place where they recognize you have it. It's inside of you. Like I tell people all the time, my clients are brilliant. They have it. They know the truth. It's inside of them. I don't give them the truth. It's already there. It's just a matter of needing the support to really tap into it and learn how to trust it. But once you do, it's like you're cooking with gas.
I love it. And if we can we talk to the persons out there? And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna find out who is Anika. We'll get her background. Some of you are already reading her bio, but I like to talk to Anika, the dualpreneur right now, because a good part of our audience, they're dualpreneurs. They work a full time job and they're a full time entrepreneur, and they're probably thinking, Shay, we let Anika know that I have to take care of the husband or I have to take care of the wife. We let her know that I have children that I'm responsible for that have their own schedules. By the way, oh, by the way, I'm involved in my community. I'm involved in other extra activities, and I'm running a business at the same time. So I have a lot going on. And what is the one, two, or three things she would maybe suggest to me? Because I feel like I'm taking care of everyone else. And she's talking about me having my remarkable life, but I've got some responsibilities. Okay. So, and then some folks are caregivers out there as well. I know it's a loaded question, but if you could talk to that person that's listening right now, and I'd really appreciate it, because they're like, yeah, what about all the responsibilities I got? Can I still have a remarkable life and handle these responsibilities? Talk to them, please.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the the easy answer is yes, you can. And what happens is it's about you defining what that life looks like for you. So a remarkable life is not something that someone else in a classroom somewhere determined for you. It's your way of defining what you want for yourself. But part of the work is to get rid of the stuff that we've been taught and to really get clear about what it is that you desire. What do you want? So, for example, I think about I am a mom of two. I have a son and a daughter who you can probably see their picture over my shoulder, and they're very active. My son has his own business, which requires quite a bit of advisorship for me. And I have my relationships with my parents, and all the different things. And one of the things I struggled with personally was trying to figure out how to fit all this together, especially as a newer entrepreneur when I first started my business. And part of what I had to do is get really clear on what success was going to look like for me. And I could not define that until I spent some time with myself. It's kind of funny, Shay, as you pose the question, the first thing that comes into my mind is you have to rest. And it's probably something that our listeners are like, what do you mean you have to rest? Like Shay just listed all of these demands on my life and the stuff that I have to do. And I want to be great at all of it. And you're telling me to rest? Yes, I am. Because I will tell you that a couple weeks ago, I was, sitting in my prayer time with God. I had all these things that I wanted to do for the business. And I'm like, I'm clear on some things, but I need some answers, and some other stuff I'm not clear on and I'm not seeing it. And I just kept hearing over and over again, rest, rest, rest. And I'm like, I rest when I'm dead, right? That's what we've been taught, right? And I pause and I rest. And after I rested, God gave me the rest. I got the pieces that I needed to go into this next chapter of my business after rest. You see, when we rest, we can get clear about what's working and what's not in our lives. But a lot of how we've been conditioned is to just keep running full cylinder, full speed ahead all the time, never giving ourselves a pause. So if you are in that space where you're experiencing overwhelm, or you're like, I have all these competing priorities, or I'm trying to build my business and I'm still working in corporate, then you've got to find some time to pull away so you can get quiet with yourself, because some of those answers that you need, they're sitting on the inside of you and you need to give them the space to come up.
As you were talking, it made so much sense, and you was talking a story about your son and your daughter behind you and what you've been through. It leads us, I think, to a very reasonable question, which is a time to talk about who are you, because everyone is not reading the bio, by the way. Somebody right now might be cooking in the kitchen. Someone's driving down the road, and we're just a podcast in their ear. Someone else like, Shay, slow down. Who is this person? So it's a two-part question. Number one, what's your backstory so they know who you are? And then what was that defining moment that led you on the path that you're on now?
Yeah. So, well, I'm a mom of two, live in Atlanta, grew up in West Orange, New Jersey. Always thought that I was going to be a lawyer or an actress, and didn't do either of those. I started off my career at Nordstrom, spent 16 years there. I was a general manager at PepsiCo. I ran a market for PepsiCo in the beverage business, and spent 8 years at Mars, and a variety of different roles there before starting my own business. And I am an advisor and coach, and I also focus on healing, on helping people heal. And so all of those things kind of come together. I am kind of an ecosystem that really is about helping people see themselves and see each other and create their remarkable lives. So that's kind of my backstory, my journey. Though I would tell you one of the most salient things that happened to me is that I went through in 2020. I know we were all going through this kind of collective experience of both what was happening with COVID and the dynamics of what was happening, in the societal unrest that we experienced. And I was going through my own chaos. And I got divorced. I changed jobs twice. I moved. My kids were remote schooling. I found out that I was not a very good remote school teacher or teaching assistant for them. It was a bit challenging. But I also, coming out of that, I hit this place of overwhelm that I had never been in before. And what I share often in my story is that, I had always been able to scale the wall. I mean, you could throw a challenge at me, I digest it, and then I am on to it. Like I am climbing the mountain because it just did not take me long. And I could not figure out why I couldn't get through this particular wall. And the wall was just exhaustion. It's like I found myself at a place where I was running in place, so to speak, and I could not get traction. And even the things that I love to do and am genuinely good at, I struggled to feel like I was being successful. And I was tired in a way that I had never experienced before. And unfortunately, I believe very deeply in therapy. So I spent some time in therapy. My mom has to be a therapist. And so I was like, yeah, it's time for me to go and get some support there. But in addition to that, I really grounded myself spiritually and started to work through what was happening. And what's interesting, Shay? I noticed that, for entrepreneurs in particular, those who
Mhm.
have left corporate or who are dualpreneurs, that we have these guidelines of the way we worked in corporate that we bring into our businesses. And it's like, hold on a second, that paradigm does not have to be what's in your business. It doesn't have to be the
Mhm.
way you operate. But a lot of times it's like, but this is what got me success before. These are the ways I know to work. And this model is different. It's intended to be. It's why I love working with entrepreneurs about remarkable life, because they're like, oh my gosh, you mean I can just create the schedule that allows me to do all the things I need to do in my life, and that's okay? Yes, it is. Like, there is so much in paradigms that we utilize today that impede us from really experiencing the life that we are supposed to have. And so for me, if you rewind back to 2020, 2021, where I hit this wall, I was like, this is not the life that I am supposed to live. Like, I am good at these things, yes, but I am not dialed into my purpose in a way that sets my soul on fire. And I'm exhausted, and I'm not finding a way to refuel myself through what I'm pouring out to the world. And that has to shift. So that led me to exploring what is remarkable life for me. And I always tell people I'm actively healing and growing. And so I'm constantly evolving that too. But I know how to do it now. And so my journey, I'm grateful for all the pieces because it's led me to a point where I not only can do this for myself, but am enabled to help other people do it for them.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being so authentic. We certainly appreciate that. And as folks are listening, and I'm listening, I'm wondering, if you could now offer maybe 3 steps that we could do just for our mindset to get us in a place to have a remarkable life. And I'm starting with mindset. And I know some of you might be like, Shay, this is so hokey dokey. No, no, no. I want you to slow down for a moment. And I want to talk a little bit about belief systems, and in doing so, maybe 2 or 3 things we can do to help shift our beliefs that there is a next level. Because I know for me, so many times I really didn't believe it. I mean, I said it. It sounded good, but there was this little voice in the back of my head. And I might be alone that would be like, no, that's not really possible for you. You can say it is, but that's not going to happen for you. Um, and it still comes up to this day. I mean, it's still there. It doesn't go away. So here's my question, because I don't want to have therapy for Shay Brown. There's might be someone else out there that has a little self doubt, that there's a little voice saying, "Is that really possible?" Three ideas that you may have, or three things we can do to shift our beliefs to lead us toward having a remarkable life.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, it is about you getting really clear about who you are. That means you got to have time with yourself. And a lot of times we are really good at being busy so that we don't have to have that time by ourselves, but we need that. And so whether it is through prayer, through meditation, if it is journaling, if it is just being still with yourself, you need time for you. In the book The Artist's Way, it talks about taking yourself on a date, like creating these creative spaces for yourself every month. And that, I think, is one of the most awesome steps that you can take. Like creating space for myself to just be with me every month has been something that has been transformative. And so that's definitely a step that you could take. Um, I would say to really do your healing work. So in the Healing Crusade, we've created a space for people to heal individually and as a part of the collective. And so we do it through challenges and everything. It's great. It's a lot of fun, and it helps you dig into where those voices are coming from. Because what we don't recognize is that the experiences that we've had in the past they are the framework for how our brain processes things. This is why you can have an idea and you're like, this sounds so great. And if I can make this happen, I could see the transformation. But then you sit on that thing for 2 years, right? Because what's happened in the past is when you've decided to move out on something in faith, you've found yourself hitting a wall or experiences, and you're like, well, your brain is like, but in order to stay safe, you shouldn't do anything new. You shouldn't go try that thing. And so a lot of times we get stuck in that cycle. But when we do our healing work, you can identify what the root of it, where did it actually come from? And you can change that truth. The third thing, right in alignment with that, is to begin speaking over yourself in an undeniable way about what you want. So when you have that moment, that piece that comes up for you, and you're like, that's the thing I should do next, you've got to begin almost immediately countering that voice that, I call it the critic, right? That's going to come up and be like, Anika, you can't do that. I have to start countering the critic by what I say. From a spiritual standpoint, I am very grounded spiritually. And one of the things that I believe in are affirmations. And so I speak affirmations over myself consistently. It was maybe about 2 weeks ago that I recognized why affirmations are so powerful. And I'd like to share it if I may.
Yes, please do.
So if you think about saying, I am strong, I am tough, I am, capable, I am remarkable. That's one of mine. The power behind that is not just what I say. When I say I am, if I think about biblically, God is the I am. So when I say I am, I'm tapped into the fact that I am a part of the creator. And this can apply for people who, have a different belief system, but believe in your being something, part of something that is bigger than you. It's like, I am a part of creation. And when I declare that I am, I'm calling on the power of, the divine body that created life and everything in it. So when I say I am, it packs a powerful punch when I truly believe it. So if you are doing affirmations, if you are speaking over yourself and this thing that you want to birth or bring to life or transform in your business, it will become so, because the repetition of the thing helps you to ground yourself in the belief. This is why when you decide to make a change, you hear the critics so feverishly coming up saying, well, you can't do that. That's not possible. And looking for all the evidence of why it can't be so. It does that automatically, right? And so you have to counter it as many times in the same way with a depth of belief so that you can create the change and transformation. Then you're teaching your mind to look for the truth as it sees things coming. So instead of looking for all of the reasons why it's not possible, you're training your mind to see the truth of why it is possible. And certainly it's possible because that's why you have the idea. That's why it's yours to birth.
perfect and said so well, spot on. By the way, thanks for sharing again. This is amazing. As folks are listening to you, they're saying, "Wow, Shay, she's sharing a lot." And we have a segment here at today's segment here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show called "Today Is My January 1st." Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you wait for this moment. Then every night you get to say these words, no matter who's around you, no matter who's listening, you get to say, "Today is my January 1st. Congratulations. For the rest of you out there, you're listening and saying, "Shay, what in the LL Cool J are you talking about?" Right? So today is my January 1st is our personal mantra here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark, no matter how bright it is, the past does not equal the future. So my question to the one and only Anika sitting on the other side is really twofold. Number one, when you hear those words, "Today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, what was another one of your January 1st moments that you had to bounce back from?
Yeah. So I love it. When you say it's January 1, it's like, yes, because yesterday does not dictate what is happening in this moment, nor will it dictate tomorrow. And I love that. I would say a January 1st moment for me was at the beginning of this year when I was sitting like, okay, what I expected the business to do last year, it didn't quite do. Like there were some things that I wanted to tackle that I was really giving myself a hard time about. I was disappointed because I felt like there were some pieces that I really wanted to have further along. And when I rested, going back to what I talked about earlier, I realized that it was the moment that I was sitting in came from the experiences that I had in the year past. And so what do I mean by that? The things that I was so adamant about that I wanted to have birthed at a different level as we went into this year could not have been, because I was still learning and gleaning from the experiences that I was going through. I have a book that is coming out a little bit later on in the summertime, and it's about healing. And so my recognition for this book was like, I wanted it to be done as the calendar turned, I wanted it to be done on January 1. But the reality is, I was still in the midst of some significant learnings about healing that need to be a part of this writing. And had I, completed it in my own volition, it would not have truly served the purpose that it is meant to for the reader. And so it was a recognition in that time of like, even in this, even with a desire and the knowledge of what it is that I am to accomplish on my journey, I still have to I get to allow myself time to embrace the lessons before I turn the page. Ironically, the thing that was, I'm going to call it missing from the book, was this piece around allowing us to take the lessons and information from yesterday and to carry it into today without holding on to the experiences. So when you think about, like, it's a double January 1 moment, because the reality is we carry so much of the stuff. We want to get stuck back there thinking about those things and rehashing them over and over again, instead of saying, how grateful am I that I went through that? Because it gives me the moment to be here right now, to be present in this time, knowing what I know, but not allowing myself to be stuck in those feelings. If I just remember that that was supposed to be a part of the experience that I had, then I'm golden. It was a part of the journey, but that part has passed, and I get to keep the lesson, and I get to be inspired today to be here in this present moment.
I love it. What was one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And so I can frame it for the audience. Anika's had so many mentors along this journey of life. I believe that success is a team sport. You really can only get so far by yourself. And it's kind of unfair to ask her to reach out and grab, man, which one of these mentors, or who do I want to quote, or what do I want to say right now? But I'm going to ask her to do the best she can and share one of the best pieces of advice that she's ever been given. And you at home, you get to lean in right now, because you get to take something that's near and dear to her and you get to use it and apply it in your life forever. So here's the question. What's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given?
So I had a mentor, and you're right, I've had a lot, but I had a mentor who said to me one day, "You teach people how to treat you." And, at the onset, it seems like, okay, that's pretty simple, right? Like, yeah, that makes sense. And I will say that when she first said it to me, I was like, what do you mean by that? I was like a little bit taken aback. And the underpinning of that advice is what I would encourage you all to lean in on. If I teach people how to treat me, then I have to understand who I am. I have to know my identity. I have to know my worth and my value. And I should be exploring those things because I am growing all the time, right? And so it says to me that I have ownership and responsibility for the experiences that I'm having in my life. So if I am not enjoying this part of the journey that I am on, what am I doing to create that or to change that? If I am allowing people to engage with me in a way that doesn't honor me, or allowing myself to be placed in different parts in business, or throughout life, and the other endeavors that I have, if I am allowing myself to be placed in places that are not aligned with who I am, I'm responsible for that. So this advice really was calling me back to, who are you truly? Like, what is your truth? And what is it that you desire to have as you experience life? And how will you enable others to be a part of that journey versus just allowing yourself to kind of blow in the wind with whatever other people want from you? It called me back to recognition of how often I looked for external validation, and how, quite honestly, disconnected I was from my truth at that time. And I'm really grateful for the advice, because it put me back in a place of my personal power, and that's where I lead from today.
Wow. I love it. It's almost unfair to ask, and I wish we had so much more time, but what do you do for fun? Like when you're not out saving the world, when you're not out, helping people have a remarkable life, what does fun look like for Anika Apple?
So I love to travel. As a matter of fact, I just turned 49, and what I decided is that this year, between now and February of next year, when I will turn 50, that I'm going to explore 50 new places, 50 new experiences. So I call it the Road to 50. I also like to paint. I found out during the pandemic, I still draw stick figures. So for anybody who's like, I'm not, artistically creative in that way, I don't know. You should explore and just see. But I never thought I could paint, because I do not draw. And I love painting, and I have some stuff that's hanging in our house. I'm not saying I'm put it on exhibit anywhere, but I find a lot of joy in that. And I actually love to cook. I have been plant based for about 8 or 9 months now, truly. And I love just exploring and recreating recipes of things that I loved when I eat things outside of my plant based diet, to bring in. So I really enjoy that, and I love to listen to music.
Now, you can't leave us hanging. You can't just say, I like to travel and not tell us where you like to travel. And you can't say you like to listen to music and not give us at least one genre or one of your favorite songs. You can't just leave us hanging. We're all like, where should I like to travel? Shay, which one are her favorite songs? So can you just share just that little more piece about you?
Yeah, right now I love gospel. So I listen to gospel a lot, because you can change your mood by music in a second. But I will say Robert Glasper right now is what's on repeat, on my Apple Music. So if it's gospel, I'm listening to Joy or Winning Season. And I love Robert Glasper and all of the collaborations that he does. Um, in terms of travel, I like two kind of travel experiences. Like, and I always set my mind of like, is this a trip where I'm going to just go relax, or am I going to explore? And so that's typically how I experience it. Right now, my target is in getting to the Mediterranean and experiencing more of Europe. One of my favorite places to go is St. Martin. I love St. Martin. And my other favorite place is Puerto Vallarta, which actually, Shay, we just talked about a couple weeks ago. But I love that. Can't wait to go back there. But I love to be in places that are sunny with wonderful people, and I love to explore culture. And I find that culture just helps you build perspective. So Yeah, have a goal that I do truly want to see all of the world. And I know at some point I will come much closer than where I am today.
I believe you. See, I'm believing already for you. That's my mindset. First of all, let me say, last two questions. Number one, what type of clients are you working with these days, if any? I don't know if your firm's taking on any clients. And number two, how can folks best connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have now?
Yeah, so thanks for that. So, I
Sure.
am taking on some advisory clients. I have a couple spaces left for that for this year, but my clients are typically in the C-suite or they're business owners. They're in places where they are called to be catalysts for change, and they are looking at the ways in which they can strengthen the centering of who they are, so that they drive and perform in their business at an even greater level. Obviously, you've heard me talk about like this mindset of remarkable life, but at the heart of it, it's about integrating your life. And so my clients typically are ones who are like, I need to figure out how to bring all of these pieces together, and I want to live a life where whether I show up at work or at my child's school or in the PTA or whatever it may be, that I show up as the same person all the time, because they are just quite frankly tired of having pieces of themselves show up in different places, right? And so they're living one life, not multiple lives, and that life becomes remarkable because they're living it the way that they want to. I help people heal, as I mentioned earlier, and so the Healing Crusade is something that is open. We are always open for new members, and it's a great opportunity for people to do some exploration of their healing journey by themselves. At our prestige level, they have a lot of interaction with me, so I hold some live sessions. I take them through trainings on whatever the challenge is, so that they can really get grounded in the healing work and how they can apply it based on the areas that they're focused in. So that's a great way for people to connect and to kind of have somewhat of a self-directed or self-paced journey where we create challenges so that it's fun. I have a couple of podcasts as well. The Remarkably Me podcast is one that talks about healing through the power of storytelling. And then the Anika Apple podcast is one where I bring the concept of integrated life together. And we talk about divine guidance. We talk about healing and how to lead, like what's expected of leaders who are building businesses that are going to last, and how we create a collective community that really works for the good of all. So those are kind of the core topics that we talk about each week.
Fantastic. Let me first say thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you. The same. Thanks for extending your platform to me today, and wish everyone well.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Without you, there is no show. So we certainly appreciate it. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you continue to connect with us. And I never get tired of sharing every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that as you're watching right now, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what you're going through, that you are truly just an incredible, fantastic, amazing, awesome individual. I mean, you really are. And that today indeed is your January 1st. I believe that with every fiber in my heart. And that for you, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is still yet to come. With that being said, my name is still Che Brown. It hasn't changed. The Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Peace. Thanks a lot, Anika. We out of here. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.